Right Rock Addicts. This is DJ REM from Rock Addict Radio, and I have Brent from the band Harbinger A.D. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, my man. How are you?
Not too bad. Man, the snow keeps falling here, buddy. I got like a foot and a half of it now.
I'm down here in Virginia, so I'll tell you what, we've only seen an inch of snow here, so that's crazy.
Yeah, well, you're lucky.
Yeah.
But, okay, so why don't you start by introducing yourself and the other member of the band?
Okay, well, fans out there, you guys know me. I'm Brent Edison. I'm the singer for Harbinger A.D. The guitar player for Harbinger A.D. is Dylan Mays. He's also a Berkeley graduate. He has his credentials, and have the drummer, Mr. Paul Selling. He's on drums. He also drummed with quite a few other people back in the past. He had drummed with me, and he drummed on the Killjoy album also, and he did 3 national tours with Jimmy Van Zandt, guys from Leonard Skinner. And,
nice.
Yeah, he came back around, and he loves the metal, so he's back with me. And currently right now, I have some studio buddies playing bass for me, but I'm going to be looking for a brand new bass player to, do the album and do some touring, stuff like that.
Right. Okay, very good. So how long has Harbinger A.D. been a band?
Okay, well, the Harbinger A.D. thing started, I got the stuff together, I'd say, brought it together a little over a year ago. Now, what had happened was, back in the late 80s and early 90s, I went ahead and I started the band. I had been through several different bands because I created them, and I went under the name Eyes of March, and I had a 4-song EP out at the time. It was called, I had songs on it called Hall of Justice, Doomsday, Hellbound, and Haunted House at that time. And I went and shopped it around, and I ended up getting on a small mom and pop label. It was called Azure Records, with a guy named David Richards. Some bands like Overkill and the Jag Panzer was on that little small label, actually, and we were the last ones. We kind of went down in rock history. We were the last band, and we just went under the name Harbinger that was ever on there. So we ended up releasing that back in '91, and it did some world circulation and stuff like that. And then after that, we played out a lot and opened up for quite a few people. Opened up for Cyclone Temple, which is a famous band, and did some things. And then we just kind of went on hiatus and kind of broke off, and I was kind of out of the music business for about 16 years, and I got the itch to come do it again, and here we are today. So trying to break some brand new ground and brand new stuff.
Very cool, and I want to thank you for introducing me to Cyclone Temple. Those guys are badass as well. Now, we're not going to talk about them, but I just want to thank you for that.
Sure, no problem, man. Good friends and great people, man. A great band live, too. They were awesome. So.
Okay, so with your current lineup, and it sounds like it's kind of you're looking for some other people. What do you guys get together very often and practice and stuff?
Well, as of right now, I'm communicating with the guitar player because we have such a distance with us. And so what's happening is this summer I'm probably going to relocate and go back home, and I'm definitely going in the studio. We're going to collaborate, and we're going to get in there. I'm already writing material right now. I do most of the lyrics and the song arrangements and the riffs and stuff. Being a singer, you would think that's kind of crazy, but I do all of that, and I translate that to my guitar player. He puts in some ideas. But I've got some songs written out right now, some formatted stuff, and this summer, which we're going to go in and do this full-length album, man. I'm ready to do it, and hope the world digs it. I hope they want to hear it. So.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, whatever formula works for making the band work, for lack of a better word, I mean, that's all that matters,
Right, correct. I don't know, I guess I've always kind of done things that way because with myself being a vocalist or whatever, it was always kind of my baby, so when I sing things, they come to me like that, and I hear it. You know what I mean? So I know it kind of fits. A lot of people like the new single "End of These Days," which is really good.
My favorite.
Oh, really? That is so cool. I went and I kind of took my time more with that, but I guess "Reborn" is a really good tune too. But myself personally, I didn't get to kind of vocally put on it what I really wanted to put on it because I was kind of rushed. I was in the middle of a move and stuff, and I kind of went to go get it done. So it didn't come out the way I could have done a little bit better, so to speak. But it came out good, you know, but I think I could have done a little bit better. But I guarantee you some of these new songs will be kicking. I guarantee it.
Well, I truly look forward to everything that you're going to put out here because I can't wait to listen to it and I can't wait to play it on my show. So
awesome, man.
Get that stuff coming, man.
Yeah, man, you guys have done nothing but show me love on here. I'm telling you, you're a great rock radio station. You have great DJs, and every time I go in the chat room, man, just people are just so commandeering, man, and this is so cool. You know, this is awesome. So I love doing it, man. I love doing it for the fans and the people. I hope the world receives it well. So.
Yep, and you know, thank goodness you hopped in chat that one day when you did.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of ironic, man.
It's awesome.
Like I said, you know, I guess my my lyrics and my songs, you know, evidently, you know, they talk about God. So I'm not going to get into a preaching sermon, but I just feel that there's a greater power. So you know, I kind of lock into that, man, and I make people aware of that. And sometimes you're put in places at the right time, you know, with the right people, so to speak. So. I believe that for the greater good and the better cause.
Yep. So. Well, I'm glad you sent me tracks so I could listen and play them. So, I mean, because it's the one thing I love about Rock Addict Radio. We get a lot of bands in there, and you know, they actually kind of they hang out, they support each other, they support, you know, the other bands. They listen to their music. They go check out their stuff on Facebook. But for me, when somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I'm in a band," the first thing I say is, "Send me some music." I mean, right. I'm never gonna know what you sound like if I don't ask. So,
right.
It's all as far as I'm concerned. This thing is it's one big whole circle. I mean, you know, the radio station can't do anything without the band. The band can't do anything without the fans wanting to listen to the music. I mean, if we're all in this together, so why not work together? If you know what I mean.
Sure, you know what I mean, and that's a great thing about from the time that I was doing it, you know, back in the 80s and the 90s and stuff. Whether you take Metallica or any of those bands, for instance, those guys, you know, I can remember those same days. You know, you had to put a profile thing together, you know, and you would put a little 4-song EP together, and you'd go take your cassettes and throw them out there. That was when, you know, and shop them out, and people would talk, and it was the word of the street, you know.
Yep.
You had to hustle it that way, and I mean, now it's just amazing because these years later, man, you know, the internet's such a monster, and you're able to just get things off around the world and get things out there so fast. And I also think, you know, doing this again, thank people like you. You know, you guys are the people that make these things happen. The fans and, you know, radio DJs like you on the internet, man, that take an interest in heavy metal music and good music and put it out there. So you guys are the people who are the glue that makes this thing all stick, so to speak. So
I hear you. Horns high to that, man. Horns high. So, what got you into music? What kind of influences have you had in your life that made you want to do this and continue to do it?
Well, you know something? It's kind of funny because I grew up listening to all kind of stuff. You know, kind of in my household, it was been from blues to R&B to jazz to whatever to rock and roll. And I grew up in a small town, so, you know, I used to be influenced. It was kind of wild, man. We used to go get our little rock fixes. My little brother and I'd go over to my buddy Tim Weekly's house. It was a guy. He had some older brothers and sisters over there, you know, man, and we'd jam on some Hendrix, man, and, you know, jam on some Zeppelin and just stuff like that when I was a kid, and Kiss, you know, and you heard all those things and you grew up with those memories burning in you. Well, anyway, you know, as I went along, you know, Judas Priest came around and Sabbath and stuff like that, and Iron Maiden. So I just, you know, grew a love for the heavy metal music because it simply had power. You know, it displayed a strength. You know, something that was a little unspoken. It had a lot of balls, so to speak. So, you know, I got attached to that, man, and I took off running with it. And I used to sing to a lot of songs, you know, just to myself. And one day, you know, a couple of my buddies were like, "Hey, man, you got a good voice," you know. And I was like, "Well, you really think so?" And, you know, there was a birth of that, you know, and messing around and tinkering around with bands and stuff. And I ended up finding myself some years later, you know, going out on stages and performing and doing it. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life, man. And I ended up meeting a lot of great people out of it, so I'm kind of cut from the old cloth, so to speak, man. That's where I come from.
Very nice. I appreciate you sharing that with me. So, how did you come up with the name of the band? How'd that come to be?
Okay, well, what had happened was when I originally did Harbinger, I did a thing when I was going to put that EP out, and it was called The Eyes of March. And so I had talked, and the guy, Dave Richards, he had called me back, and he says, "Hey, Brent," he says, "look," he says, "there was a band in the 60s that was called Eyes of March." He said, "You're going to have to change the name." And I was like, "Wow, really?" And he was like, "Yeah." So he said, "I'm going to give you a little time, and you go ahead and think of something." So in the midst of doing all this, I'm tossing names around in my head, and I'm trying to think of something that's not corny, you know what I mean? And I had a real good buddy of mine. He was also a famous, he was an artist. He was a professional airbrusher. He did Vivian Campbell's guitar for Dio, and he played with him, and he did Leatherwolf's old band. He did their album cover. His name was Fritz Hartman. And Fritzy, I told him about it, and that day, and we were just over his house, and he just says, "Hey, Harbinger." And I was like, "What?" He said, "Name your band Harbinger." He said, "Harbinger is a messenger." And then right there, I thought about it, and it just stuck.
Right.
And so it came, and so I released the stuff out as Harbinger, and there was no problem. Now, being off of the music scene for some years, and falling out of it, then I went and saw that there were some bands trying to, say they were all Harbinger from so-and-so, and you started getting that stuff, and I was just like, wow, I'm going to have to go back here years later and go try to fight for the name. And so then I thought to myself, being that I, write about Bible stories and the conditions of the world and stuff, that's what really influences me. I said, the AD is the here and now, it was after the death of Christ. So
right.
I was like, I went ahead and I attached that to that, and that was the birth of this name now. So.
All right, and that's how Harbinger A.D. came to be. Sweet.
Yes.
So where is a good place for people to go to find out more about the band, more about you guys, and, where can they go listen to some music?
Listen to some music. I tell you what, guys, get on my Facebook page. I have this is Harbinger A.D. It's on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter and a little MySpace page there. Also, you can go on to Reverb Nation. Both songs, End of These Days and Reborn, free downloads. Also on SoundCloud, you can get them free downloads, and you can find them on YouTube also. Both songs. Add the little video. It's not actual video, but you'll see some little picture episodes and stuff like that on some of the stuff. But the songs are all available on all three of those places right now.
Okay, very good. Well, if you're listening to this interview right now, people, go check it out because stuff rocks.
Thank you, bro.
So what are your goals for this? I mean, where do you hope to be in a couple years?
To be in a couple of years, well, I'll tell you what. That's a really good question, because what I would really like to do, man, if I had a dream of mine of anything, I like to, take this and take it across the world. I want to write really good music. This time I want to top the stuff that I did. I hope people enjoy it, and like I said, man, I want to take it everywhere across the planet if I can. It would be amazing. Like I said, my drummer, he did 3 national tours with Jimmy Van Zandt. He's just like, hey, man, he goes, but, I know you've done some things, I've been around a little bit. He said, but, when you actually get out there and get exposed and you're going around that, it's kind of a hard job. He said, but, man, it's an amazing thing. So with the stuff that I'm writing and the way that I'm going about it, that's where I want to be in a couple of years, man, just doing some stuff. So.
Okay, well, I wish you the best of luck with that, and I hope that happens. And I hope you end up in a town near me so I can come see you.
Oh, man, most definitely. I would love to, man. I would definitely love to come there and represent, man. And like I said, I want to, do that shout out to your station, because you guys do, man. You guys have shown me nothing but love since I've been on there, man. It's been incredible. You guys play the stuff, man, and like I said, all the DJs and everybody has been so cool. So it was a pleasure for me. I like to come on here, and do the interviews with you. It's just great.
Yeah, all the other DJs have really picked up on your tracks very well, and I notice I hop in, I like to hop into the other DJ shows, and I always hear them playing your stuff. So everybody's really digging it. It's really cool.
That is so cool. I appreciate it. It was a funny thing last night because there's some more radio shows, man. It's starting to spread like wildfire. It's kind of amazing. And I got to this one show last night. I'm not going to name names to protect the innocent, but I went on there, man, and these guys were like, so your stuff's really good, yeah. But then it's kind of funny because I ended up seeing them on a webcam. And, I said to them about where my lyrics are going, they were asking me what, where my newer stuff was going towards, and I, said that briefly. It seemed like there was a little negative charge, in the room. And like I said, anybody's free to listen to what they want to listen to, or whatever. But I don't know, it was just like some little form of negativity, but you'll have that anywhere in life, so.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yes, it
yeah,
happens.
So I take it and brush it off my shoulder and whatever, you know what I mean? Because it's like, to those that don't like it, there might be 10 more that do. So.
Yep, exactly. So, and make sure that any radio stations that are playing your stuff, make sure that you post that on my Facebook page, and make sure that you post it on my DJ page too. And if you don't have that link, I will send it to you later, because that's where I kind of post all my interviews and such as well. But the one thing you'll find with me is I'm not one of these guys that is like, oh, well, I'm not going to promote these other radio stations because they're not my station. I could care less. My whole goal, when I find bands like you that I dig and enjoy to listen to, is my goal is to try to do everything I can to help push you forward a little bit. If I can expose you to a couple more listeners, I feel like I've accomplished something. So feel free to post any radio stations that you're on. Post that stuff on my page, and I will promote it for you as well.
Oh, man, I most definitely will, man, because just like you're saying, man, that's what I'm saying, this true love with you guys, man. You guys have been so lenient. And that's what other people should do. You toss the music around and you share it around on a street level, and you throw egos out the door, You got to kind of put that kind of stuff aside, man. And, you do it for the music and the love and the fun of it all. And when you do it like that, man, it makes for a better atmosphere, man, and everything else. So.
Yeah, when I run into people with egos, I don't run into them again, if you know what I mean.
Right, I don't blame you, man.
I don't have time for that.
For sure. That's like I said, that spews negativity, man. And those are the things that I write about too. Things that we have to deal with in everyday life, man. Those are topics. Matter of fact, I'm working on one song now. It's called Haters, Snakes, and Fakes. So
nice.
That one is going to be something, that's something that people can relate to.
Yep.
People that are just, the haters, man. I mean, it just seems you start getting those coming out of the wall too. It's funny. You either get people that see that you're achieving a certain goal, or you're trying to do something positive, and they either want to stab you in the back, talk about you, or knock you down. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or after that, you achieved a certain level, and then they want to go, oh, I knew you could do it, oh, I'm your friend now, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, they want to ride your coattails.
Oh, yeah, you were like that 2 years ago, but now you believe, you know what I mean, that all this was going to happen. So it's kind of rather funny, man. You just kind of just laugh, you know what I mean, and you go on about yourself.
Yeah, you just got to roll with it, definitely.
That's it, brother.
So where did you record these 2 tracks that I have? Did you record them yourself?
Yeah, but basically what we did, believe it or not, man, we got a cool little studio. My guitar player, man, he has an actual studio, and we have a studio in the house there. So
nice.
What he's done, man, we got some stuff together, man, and he's got some $high equipment, you know what I mean? And we went in there and went at it, man. You know what I mean? Got some good mics and stuff like that, all that kind of stuff. And it's, with him having the background that he has in, recording and stuff like that, it pretty much came easy because it's, you have to have good equipment, but yet then you just got to know what you're doing. That's the main thing. Some people don't. They don't have an idea. He just knows how to mic cabs and, do them a certain way and drums and this and that. So it's, he's got his stuff down.
Yep. Well, and I'm going to say it again. The recording, great job, because they sound top notch. So keep doing what you guys are doing for sure. So If I grabbed your iPod or MP3 player or record player, however you like to listen to music, what would I find you listening to right now?
Wow. You got a wide array of stuff. That's a real good question. Oh, man, yeah, I like all kind of different bands, you know what I mean? They kind of move me, man. I like a band, I like Stuck Mojo. I don't know if you heard of those guys or not. They're from down in the South. They were pretty popular. Actually, the guy, Youre, he plays in Fozzy now with those guys. But they were kind of like a rap crossover, you know, like Limp Bizkit. But they're a little more metal than him because, man, they actually implemented the leads on, you know, on the guitar and stuff like that. And some of their riffs are really grooving. So stuff like that. I love the New Testament. Great album, man. Let me see here, boy.
Well, while you're thinking, I just have to throw in that there is nothing metal in Limp Bizkit.
Right, they're a little more. I just, in Stuck Mojo, you know, it's very much, you know.
No, I get it. I had to throw my little dig in.
Yeah. Well, it seems like some of the stuff when they started out, yeah, but it's more commercial formatted, you know.
It's definitely catchy.
Bring to it. What was that now?
I said it's definitely catchy.
Right. You know, it is what it is, man. What they do well. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Oh yeah, I'm not hating on them. I'm just.
Right. It's just not. But that's the thing I was saying about like a band like Stuck Mojo. They were really cool, very diverse, but they had that more, you know, metal about them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Some couple tunes like Pipe Bomb and stuff like that. Man, there was some real good tunes. But like I said, the New Testament I really dig. Like I told you, the old stuff, Cyclone Temple. Love Sabotage, man. One of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah, and I still have to find a way to get some Cyclone Temple tunes because I told you I was looking online for some stuff, man. They wanted outlandish prices for stuff.
What? That's crazy. Matter of fact, it was funny because I also rock my stuff on Hard Rock Radio live at DJ Hawk. If you know her or not.
Yep.
She's a real good friend of mine. I love her. She's a jewel. She's just been rocking my stuff. And I turned her on, and Greg and her are also friends. But he told me that you can find this stuff and get it off of YouTube, that you could snag it, but I don't know. So you'll have to look. And that's the thing. I don't have any of his old stuff. I had some stuff that I loaded off the net, one song.
Right.
A long time ago, but I didn't know they wanted that kind of prices for the stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, you know, I got in contact with them, and they're like, yeah, play everything you want. So.
Right, because Greg's a good dude. He's cool as hell, so I don't know. Maybe it was the company they were with or somebody's making a little cheese off the stuff.
Right, yeah. So, what do you do when you're not playing music and doing all this stuff? What do you like to do to relax? You got any hobbies that kind of give you time to recharge?
Yeah, man. I used to be a power lifter, so I used to compete in bench competitions and stuff like that. That is one of my top loves. Those two are a tie.
Right.
It's very much of a toss-up, man. Because I also love to compete also, and I need to start really getting back in the gym and training because I've been hitting and missing, doing jobs and doing work and stuff. But that's something that I like to do also. Probably if I was actually on the road, you'd probably find something either in the back of a truck or something. I'd have a weight bench back there somewhere, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what for Harbinger A.D., what sets you guys apart? I mean, there's a lot of other bands, and especially nowadays with the internet and being able to record your stuff yourself. Obviously, like you said, you have to know what you're doing, but there's a lot of bands out there that seem to kind of have this down. What sets you guys apart? Why should people listen to you guys?
You know what, man? This is how I feel. It's wild because then when you lay off of the music for so long, you get to hear all these other newer bands coming through, and you're seeing what the delivery is and what people are about. And it seems like from the days, I could tell you like this. I grew up. I'm cut from that old cloth, like I said, man. I come from the days of Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Sabotage, Ronnie James Dio, Ozzy. The list goes on and on. And so when you would put a record on back then, and I'm sure you would know,
Yep.
would put a record on, and then as soon as it hit the radio, you put it down, you said, damn, man, that's Dio, or man, that's the Priest. It had its own signature sound, the vocals were there, and you knew that vocalist, and you almost could connect with him. Like you could connect with Rob Halford or Ronnie James Dio or Bruce Dickinson. So those guys, to me, man, laid the stamp down on things. And one of my favorite singers, and God bless him, is Ian Gillan, man, from Deep Purple. I love his chops. People like that had an identity. Now, man, to me, there are so many bands out there that are rehashed. You can't identify with the vocalist. Even up until the day, you can't put something on and get it just like you would back then. I would say some of the newer bands, like when Chris Cornell was around, when Soundgarden was around, Scott Weiland, those guys all had identity. But now you listen to stuff, it's either, to me, a lot of Cookie Monster stuff or a lot of screamers.
Yep.
And dude, I'm just being honest, I'm not hating on them, but I can't sit there and go, man, that's so-and-so, that guy's blowing me away. Or you don't hear an acoustic song out of somebody, and I'm not saying that that's weak. I mean, hell, Pantera did that on Cemetery Gates, or, Metallica did it, but then you show another versatile side of yourself. You're able to identify and show some talent, so I believe that, and you're also going to hear that from me, because not only can I belt that stuff out, but I can sing too, man, so I'm going to display some different chops for you.
Very good, and I totally can understand. I appreciate what you said, especially at the beginning about those other bands. I mean, most of those old school bands like that. I mean, after the first, I don't know, I'm going to say 5 to 10 seconds, what band you're listening to. I mean, they just have that signature, like you said, that signature sound. And now you listen to a band, and I have to look and see. I'm like, who is this? Because I have no clue.
Right, it's just like it's like rehash. It's like, I just would wish that some people, man, would just, try to, it's hard because I think some people think, and not to cut you off, that think that it's easy to, sit and grab a microphone and to scream into it. But if you hear me do some stuff, but I use some of my deeper tones in that because it's all control, so to speak. And I think if you have talent and ability, you're able to use it in certain places for power and learn to come off as dynamic, so to speak. So a lot of people, they just do it to do it. And that's what I see.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. So here's a good question for you. I'm gonna rack your brain now.
All right.
What's the first rock/metal vinyl album you ever purchased?
Ooh, boy, that's a good one. My brother and I used to share some albums. We'd get them.
Well, I guess, okay, we can ditch the purchase part. Just what's the first one you remember listening to?
Oh, man, boy. The very first one, that's going to be kind of hard to nail. I can go back and say, man, we listened to Priest, maybe Rock and Roller, man, Rush 2112, definitely the first Iron Maiden album, back in the 80s. But, I came from the 70s, so yeah, man, definitely stuff like that.
Okay.
Old Judas Priest is one of my favorites, and some Sabbath too, man. Black Sabbath was a big influence. Yeah,
I've been listening to their very first album a lot lately, and it's just amazing. It's amazing they were way ahead of their time, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Sure, man. Tony Iommi, man, what a great guitar player. I mean, he started tuning down, back then. He gave Sabbath kind of a, he gave them that little muddier sound, darker sound that was a little different. And then, how do I want to say it? Tony Iommi said this best. He said, Ozzy's not the greatest singer in the world. He said, but he is the most, recognizable. He's got a certain quality about him, man, and when he puts his signature on there, you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
He does it like nobody else, so, Ozzy's an icon, you know what I mean? So was Ronnie James Dio, so was Rob Halford and Bruce Dickinson, and the list goes on. And I would love to see more bands try to come back like that.
Right.
And,
Well, and it goes back to what we were talking about. Those old school bands. As soon as the music starts, you know who you're listening to, and as soon as they start singing, you know who you're listening to. I mean, there's absolutely no mistake. When it's Ozzy, it's Ozzy. I mean, you can't. Who's that? No, it's Ozzy.
right, you cannot deny it.
Exactly. Well, and the reason I asked that initial question about your first, because I have a very vivid memory of that. My very first, if anyone cares, was Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil, first album ever.
Really?
And the reason I remember it so well is because my mom came into my room and heard it playing, and at this point in my life, she was going to church and all this stuff. Well, anyways, the album went back because it was devil worship music. So I do not have the album because I was made to return it.
Oh, really? That's funny, man, because I ended up seeing them on that tour when I was young. They opened up for Ozzy up in Richmond Coliseum. That was when Jakey Lee was playing for them. They came out, but let me just tell you this. When Ozzy had Jakey Lee and, let's see, who's playing with the Rudy Sarzo and Carmen Appice was playing with them in that band, and the crew tried to come on out, but they got spanked by the boys. Let me tell you, Jakey Lee was ripping it, man. So I remember it all too well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at a live show you've done? Any crazy stories?
No, man, not really. Gee whiz. Probably some of the funniest stuff, man, was back in the day. I remember chicks throwing panties on stage, man. And we weren't like no glam band, man. I can tell you, this is one funny story I can remember. This was funny as hell. I can tell you real quick. I went to a place, we were really popular, and we were like one of the number one heavy metal bands down in Columbus, Ohio, and this and that. We were at this place up in Pittsburgh, and I played Pittsburgh a lot. There's a place called Someplace Else at that time. And they had a jam night, and they had this big killer sound system. And so they had a certain night that was going on. It might have been like a Wednesday, Thursday night thing or something like that. It was some years ago, back in the early 90s. And matter of fact, Sebastian Bach had played at that place before that, like when they came on tour there or something. He went over there and chilled out at that spot. We never got to see him or anything, but he had been there and did jam night there before. But anyway, make a long story short, we go in there and there was this big band out of Pittsburgh, man. They were kind of like the Poison band back then, called Raquel, man. And we're in there, and they had all these groupies around them and stuff, man, all these chicks and whatever. And so they get up on stage and they're playing, and they're doing their little thing, kind of their Poison crew deal, and we're just some, four guys, man, from little podunk town, man, out of Wellsville, Ohio is where I'm from. So we sit up and we wait, and they get off, off stage. And people are like, yeah. So we go up, we look, and I got the song list. I said, okay, let's do the first song. We're going to do this, and then we'll do these four. And dude, man, we just got up there and just KYS ourselves, man, and we went up there and knocked these four songs out. By the first song, the people had went berserk. They were standing on top of the bar, dude.
Nice.
The mosh pit going on. It was unbelievable. When we got done, man, after the first song, this dude goes, "Now that's what I'm talking about, brother." And it broke out. There was like 300 people going nuts in this place. When we got done, the funniest thing that happened was the chicks that were with that band, they left those guys and came over with us for the rest of the night. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, you stole their chicks, man.
Yeah, stole the chicks, man.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I had to do that one. That goes down to kind of our little rock history, so to speak.
Yeah, that's very cool. Okay, anything else you would like to tell the world? Anything that I haven't asked you that you want to make sure people know about you guys?
I just want to say, that we're, man, that you're going to hear, man, I have some great songs, man. I believe that the world's kind of in a dark place, and that's a lot of negativity, man. And I want them to hear the things I'm going to be writing about, man. Like I said, these stories hold true to our lives, you know what I mean? As far as the characters in it, you know, I'm going to be writing one about John the Baptist, man. He was, you know, a light to Jesus Christ, man, and he was able to project things in his coming, and, you know, the world just needs to be aware. I just think, like I said, there's so much negativity out there going on, and, you know, it's time to shed a little light, so to speak, man. There's just so many bands and people just in life spew that. You know, man, and there's a better way, man, to do things, you know what I mean?
By far.
All the hate and all that garbage, man, and politics, and, you know, it weighs itself down, and at the end of the day, man, when we leave this world, you know what I mean? You got to leave with your conscience clear, because if you don't, man, you're living in a blind spot.
Yep. Very cool. Okay, I have one last thing to ask you before I let you go.
Sure, brother.
I'd love a couple of radio tags, if you don't mind.
All right.
So the first one, you know, you can say, you know, this is Brent from Harbinger A.D. and you're listening to rockaddictradio.com.
All right. This is Brent Edison, and you're listening from Harbinger A.D., the singer, and you're listening to rockaddictradio.com.
Very cool. And then the second one, the exact same thing, but throw in there that you're listening to DJ REM.
This is Brent Edison from Harbinger A.D., and you're listening to DJ REM on Rock Addict Radio. Come get some.
Okay, man. Well, thanks again for talking to me. I have another interview here in about 20 minutes I got to get ready for, so on to the next, you know.
I dig it, man. Hey, Brother REM, man, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm telling you, man, it's a pleasure. You guys have shown me much love, like I said, once again. And I'd like to say thank you to all the fans, man, all around the world, man. Come get it. Harbinger A.D., man, 213, putting it down for you. And I'm telling you, come on my Facebook page, join the family. Come get it on SoundCloud, Reverb Nation, and YouTube. Come on and get some, man, I'm telling you.
That's right. Go check them out, because they rock.
Oh, man, thank you so much, and thanks for having me, brother.
Yep, okay, well, you take care, okay? Well, I'll catch you in chat soon.
Okay, brother. Hey, take care, man, and rock on. And always remember, in leaving, Ricky Rackman used to say this one foot in the gutter and one fist in the goal.
That's right.
All right, man, peace.
Yeah, peace, bye.